you know, I think we'll, I think I'll use these credits to talk about. I'll put it in a separate video as to avoid spoilers, but let's talk about the feeling of deja vu. So
I know. Well, what was that all about then? Because if you'd have done this first, you'd have no idea, would you?
No. So now I'll fill in some gaps for you.
All right.
Playing Xenoblade 2, at the beginning of chapter 10, we see the cutscene of Klaus creating the universe.
Yeah.
Which is the same cutscene we see here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the architect in Xenoblade 2 was in two halves.
Yes, yeah.
He said, in another universe, I am dying, and so you must beat Malos quickly before, you know, my life gets extinguished.
Oh, yeah.
And then as we're fighting Malos, you hear, today we will fell a god and seize our destiny. Which is...
Oh, God.
So, what happened was, you know, right, these two games, Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2, happened at the same time. And so, obviously Shulk has no idea, but that's why, at the beginning, I wasn't going on too hard with that. You know, I was like, oh, in our Gentum, meanwhile Rex is going around like this. That was a really subtle nod to the fact that the games take place at the exact same time.
Parallel. Oh my goodness. So Alvis was the other half of
Alvis, because there were three processors.
Yeah.
And Klaus was like, one of them went missing, and even he doesn't know where it went.
Yeah.
That was Alvis. Hence why he's got the little red core crystal. Because he is the third Aegis.
He's the third Aegis. I get it. Yeah. The Aegis. Yeah.
And obviously, this game came first, so they built Xenoblade 2 around these revelations. So when they redid it, because if you take this without playing the second one, you would have no idea that there were two more processors and all that kind of stuff. Which is why, you know, playing Xenoblade 2 was just mind blowing at the end, because it was like, wait, hang on a second, these worlds are connected.
Yeah.
So to then elaborate even further, so what happened when Klaus pushed that button?
Yeah.
That created two universes.
Yeah.
The original universe, which was the Xenoblade 2 world, and obviously Klaus, you know, he got half of him ripped off, and that became Zanza in the other dimension.
Oh, right.
And then, you know, behind, he's like, oh god, what have I done? He creates all rest, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Rex's game, Xenoblade 2, takes place on, you know, the world after Klaus pushed the button, but this game takes place in the universe created when Klaus pushed the button. Yeah.
Oh, blimey. Oh, God, who thought of that one? I would have never... I'm glad you've explained it to me, because I would have been a bit lost. I'd have had to go and Google that and read up about it.
Yeah, I know. I just remember seeing it and blowing my mind. And then this is something I didn't expect you to get. Shulk, the architect, and Zanza are all voiced by the same person. They're all voiced by Adam Howden.
Are they?
Yeah, because...
So Shulk, Zanza... and the architect.
Because obviously the architect and Zanza are the same person
anyway.
Same
thing, yeah.
And and obviously Shulk, and that's also to sort of say how Zanza and Shulk are connected. They're voiced by the same person. So there you go, and that's the end of the credits.
Blimey.
Any post credits? No. And look, there you go. Monolith Soft.
So could we have another one then? Can they? Is there a third world?
Who knows? I mean, you know, they could do Xenoblade 2 too, where we follow on with whatever happened at Rex's, because this was pretty conclusive. But, you know, there is an epilogue story, so we will find out. So you just tell me that you didn't realise that that was Mayneth.
No,
so,
not at all. I missed that. I think it was in the whole sort of what was going on, because, you know, I always felt really attached to her, because when... Am I allowed to say about the badge?
Yeah, we're talking about spoilers now. Yeah.
So when they defeated that creature and they found that badge, I always felt really like bad, because that was a human, wasn't it? And I just didn't see the name come up. And no, so her spirit and her energy went in to becoming Lady Mayneth.
Whereas, I mean, obviously this isn't explicitly stated, but whereas Klaus got split into two, her whole thing went over. Or I guess her whole soul went over, and then I guess her body became that
horrible creature.
But yeah, so she was like completely transported, and then they were.
And
Klaus was ripped in two.
became
Zanza and the architect. So the architect,
and when we saw him disappear, when we eventually got to him and he was like disappearing, was he going over to be Zanza? Is that right? No, he's just disappearing in general.
He was disappearing because Shulk was about to kill Zanza.
Oh, right.
So
I'm getting it now.
So that he's still like two halves of a whole, and then if one half goes down, then the other half goes. So because Shulk was literally about to kill the other half, he was going to die. Hence why he told Rex, "My time is running out. You've got to be quick," because he's aware. Obviously, Zanza has no idea, but it's supposed to be kind of like. The ego.
I know, I can see that, like, you can see that is his form when he was, got the two Monados and the Shulk form.
And it's like, it's supposed to be, the architect is the human side of Klaus, and then Zanza was the ego. So that's why.
God, that's so clever. So, and I feel quite nice that she became. She was nice, wasn't she? And she
was nice.
Lady
so she wanted to stop him. She was
trying to. Yeah, she knew what would come.
I'm just thinking, is there anything else about?
That's so clever
between the two. Yeah, I assume Xenoblade 2 was critic.
And so when the architect said to Rex, you've got to hurry.
Yeah.
What did he have to hurry for?
He had to hurry for Shulk beating Zanza.
Yeah, no, I got that. But what was he doing in the game? I'm trying.
Well, Malos was going to destroy the world anyway.
Oh yeah, so
and the only way they could beat Malos was using the architect's power. And if the architect isn't there, they can't use his power to stop Malos. So he had to be quick before the architect, because Numa was only able to exist because of the architect's power.
That's it, yeah. That was the third one.
So once he goes, Numa goes with him. And so they had
and Numa was that sort of
the merge of Pyra and Mithra,
yeah. And so
Malos.
Malos, and then Alvis was the third one. The third
and then
blade.
Also that's another reason why. It was crazy that Malos had a Monado, because what do all the...
Yeah, they all had Monados.
They all had Monados, so it makes sense that...
Yeah, that he would have a Monado.
That means, I don't think the Aegis sword has a name, but assumably that's also a Monado.
Yeah, it must be a Monado, yeah.
But, no, it's just called the Aegis sword, but...
So the Aegises were So who created the Aegises then?
Well... Klaus did.
Klaus did, yeah.
Klaus.
I'm just double checking my memory.
So as Alvis said, he was part of a supercomputer.
Yeah,
that supercomputer ran off of 3 processors.
Yeah.
That when he hit the button, him, Klaus, Mayneth, and Alvis all went off.
Yeah.
Alvis was obviously given like some kind of life/sentience through the thing.
Yeah.
And then now Klaus, the architect, used the remaining 2 processes to create Malos and and Numa technically, but then
Numa who then split off into Pyra and Mithra. God, you got to have your head screwed on to get all of that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Or go back and read it. I don't think I'd have ever got that. I'd have had to. Maybe in my younger days. I don't know.
Well, I just remember playing Xenoblade 2, seeing the cutscene play at the beginning of chapter 10 or whatever it was, and being like, wait, what? Because obviously, the guy, he was like, there are no connections between the 2 games. So the second I see this blatant connection between
did you play Rex first? Or
no, I knew about this one first.
So you did play this one first. So you
because Xenoblade 2, I wouldn't say would make... I mean, it still makes sense, but I feel like Xenoblade 2 is much greater enjoyed having played this first.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could argue, well, we literally just played them in reverse order, but I feel like they still stand on their own. It's just you have a few questions at the end of Xenoblade 2. I mean, you have a lot of questions at the end of Xenoblade 2 if we really want to go into the ending. But yeah. And obviously, I have no idea what future connected, what information that shares. But
so now we've got Rex off in one universe, one sort of land doing his thing with these girlies, and then you've got Shulk with his little team doing their thing.
And they're completely separate universes.
Separate universes. Do you think they'll bring them together? Because Shulk wanted to go and meet all the other
things.
Life,
but I don't know. Yeah, no idea.
And Alvis could be the link.
He could be. I mean, they say, you know, Malos and Pyromithra don't know they have a brother. You know, they're completely unaware.
They are. So it could be.
And it would be interesting to see them all interact. You know, like Alvis be like, "We're related." Lol. You know, like...
So there is potential there to bring another game in because you've got Alvis, and I think
and that's
he's
everyone's
the key.
confused about Xenoblade Chronicles X, because this isn't really spoiling anything, but that one genuinely isn't connected, and I believe that one is not finished. So,
they might put a twist, but they said the others weren't. They might put a twist in it.
I mean, that is the thing. That is, you know, if they do a Xenoblade X 2,
I think Alvis will pop up.
Yeah, Xenoblade X is a very weird
clever
game.
to have Alvis as that, as rooted into that.
Yeah. Well, the other way around. It's how they seamlessly segued. I mean, you can argue it all, you know, abruptly
and
comes
Lady
at the
Meneth,
end of Xenoblade 2.
Meneth,
who's called Galea.
Galea.
Yeah, because at the very end, the architect in Xenoblade 2, he goes, just before he vanishes, he goes, "I'm ready to, I think I'm ready to face you, Galea," or something like that, which is obviously her. So I don't know if they were like romantically involved or whatever.
Yeah, I think there might have been. I think there was a bit of hint of that, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a hint of that. With Xenoblade 2, not really as much as in this one.
No, not in, but I think in that one, yeah. And she was there. Oh. Well, that's. I just can't believe I missed that little bit, Meneth. Mayneth. I kept seeing the name wrong. Yeah, I can't believe I missed it. Well, good job in some respects, because I might have given a big spoiler in the bit in the.
Yeah, might have done.
I might have done. I might have just exclaimed something.
Yeah, I'll probably would have cut that. The video would have ended probably before that. Is that? I think that's it. I don't think there are any more
revelations. That I haven't quite. On
I said about the games taking place in parallel.
Well, I know. Get it now. Yeah. No, get it. It's a bit sort of like.
There you go. So and that blew me away, because I've never seen two games run parallel. Like I've seen, you know, like sequels, prequels, all that kind of stuff. I've never seen a piece of media where the two stories take place at the same time, but like in separate universes. Because you know there are many things where people are having quests at the same time. I mean, like two whole separate entities going away and then connecting, but not properly connecting. Just
they did that well. I wonder if that was just by, you know, they brought out this one and then thought, let's link them, you know, because we've.
Well, I mean, technically yes and no, because obviously when they remade this game, they added the core crystal. Alvis didn't have that.
Right.
Because I told you how Alvis had a key there.
Yeah.
So that proves that Xenoblade 2 was built around this game. That wasn't planned. They didn't plan to have it pan out like that. They didn't make this game with the second one in mind.
Because I think I kept asking you, is there any links between, and you very subtly kept saying no, and obviously you had to, because we couldn't have any spoilers, could we?
Okay, on the left you will see what the game looked like before they redigitalized it. Or they remastered it. On the left. There you go. That's Ryan Dunban.
Oh my god, that is so. Like. Gosh, it's not very. No, I've been rude, but it's a bit like fuzzy, isn't it?
Even for Wii standards, it looked better. Look at Sharp.
Oh my god, Matthew.
That's what you look like.
That's. Oh my god! But you wouldn't appreciate that like in 2010. I mean, that's
of course. Even
10 years ago. You know, look at that.
Wow.
But how clever that they redigitalized it, you know, and made it. You know how they remaster these films and stuff.
Well, I mean, in a game, it's obviously much easier, because assuming they haven't lost any assets.
Look at that! It's so much more clearer, isn't it? And the clarity. Although, when it was brought out, that would have been the norm, wouldn't it?
I mean, to be fair, I think by Wii standards, this one it still didn't look the best. It was
right, okay.
You know, the Wii was capable of a little bit more. And as far as graphics are concerned, you know, we're talking PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Obviously, they could produce visually better games.
I mean, that's always been the thing. Yeah, I do remember that being quite.
This game
be a comment that you know
and that's why they were like, "Oh, I don't want to play this game because it looks bad." And so Monolith Soft were like, "Well, here's it looking good."
Good, so, God, they had to really work on that to make it look that much more crisp. That's the word I was trying to get a word, and God, that was not crisp, was it?
No.
Oh, look at her. Is that how she looked?
Yeah, that's how she looked. There's Alvis with his key.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is like somebody put like a
You can ignore the 3DS.
Oh
That's
my
not important. Just the Wii and Switch. It's like completely different.
It is quite abysmal, really, isn't it? If you look at it,
It's rough. It is rough.
It is rough, isn't it?
It's like there's no need to beat around the bush.
Yeah. Gee whiz.
It's just a random one of what Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looked like before they, when they first showed it off to when they did it again.
Yeah.
But that's nothing. That's
nothing, is it?
That's not like that game wasn't released twice.
No.
But,
I'm quite shocked at how, you until you would have
you didn't think it looked like that.
No, not at all.
No,
That's
it.
I mean, I suppose that's the difference of, Zelda on the Wii, on their Game Boy. Not, you can edit that. You can edit that bit out. Yeah, on the Game Boy, and you've got that pixels, and then you see it now.
Yeah.
Look at, is that me laughing?
Yeah, that's your waves. Okay, so let's talk about the game as a whole. First of all, we got our main cast. We talked about the cast in the beginning. I wasn't sure what cast you were gonna like more, the Xenoblade 1 cast or the Xenoblade 2 cast.
Yep.
So let's just start off with that one. Now that we've beaten the game, whose group did you like more, Rex's group or Shulk's group?
I liked Rex's group. I think we had more characters there, and I did love the blades. And of course, you didn't have the blades with this, and I love the colourful blades and just again their characters and how they interacted. And I missed the blades.
Okay, so what about then? Let's go through our specific Xenoblade 1 characters.
Yeah.
How did we feel about Ryan? We're starting with Ryan because I've got a specific
he was like a comical, wasn't he? He was that sort of like stereotypical, beefcake, sort of there to sort of beat 'em up guy, not a lot of brains, G.I. Joe type of thing. But I don't want to offend anybody. But that's what he was, and that's the character he played, and that's the role he played. He was a good all-round sport and supported Shulk, didn't he?
Yeah, his development was that he realised his place on this team and that his role was to support Shulk, and it's just like...
and he did that, and he did exactly that, and they portrayed him correctly, and I suppose they would, wouldn't they? But he fulfilled his role throughout the game, and he was there. And he knew when, like, Shulk was having one of those vision-y things and said, mate, you've got to share it with us and everything. And,
Fair enough.
Yeah,
well, obviously, I like Ryan. I like Ryan quite a lot. I said that, I think,
you
towards
like him
the beginning.
a lot, do you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, good.
I don't like him, but I do like him a lot.
I just want to make sure,
And,
again, I don't know if we're having this honest moment.
And... no, I like it. He's, as we're talking about memes, there's a lot of good Ryan-related memes.
Oh, sure, there are. Yeah,
I really do enjoy Ryan for those Ryan memes. But that's about it. I do just like it. So we talked about it and touched on his arc.
Like a man crush.
No, that's Dunban.
Oh, is it Dunban?
Yeah.
Oh, blimey, Dunban.
No, we'll come back to Dunban. Let's just bounce straight onto Charlotte then.
Charlotte.
Okay.
Well, I think she was put there as a bit of love interest, obviously, for poor Ryan, but never really got off, and she always had her heart on her, which I can't remember her Gado, which obviously he didn't meet a very happy end, but he was trying to be very brave, and so I think she just had a background role really. I mean she was there, wasn't she, but she never really took centre stage.
No, but I don't think Charlotte has a lot of prominence in I mean she has her arc, but
she had a little story, didn't she, about Gado, and we knew we were going to meet Gado, and we knew that was going to, be sad. But I mean, she was just a character, a little bit of love interest or a bit of bants for Ryan. Just a team member in the background, which I don't think with the Xenoblade 2 we played before, they all had a role. I think they all had quite strong characters, and
I would agree with that. Yeah,
and she was very much she didn't have a strength of character within that particular game.
And it could just be like writing as well, but I feel like Charlotte kind of has her bit at the start of the game, and then that's just kind of it. She's just kind of existing for the rest, right up until towards the end where Gado comes back into the story.
Yeah, and then her wimpy brother.
Her only relevance is with Gado, and it's just like...
Well, she healed a bit, didn't she?
Yeah, her whole thing was a healer. And
Kiora.
but in terms of like giving like contributing to the team. I guess, you know, being a healer is important, but just like in an overall story sense, she doesn't really have much of an impact.
Agree. I agree, and I think that was my overall opinion, you know, of
okay,
her.
We'll go to Dunban. As I say, Dunban is my main crush. If we're going to use that,
he is your main crush. Oh wow,
yeah, he is quite amazing. I do like him a lot.
Do you identify with him?
I don't know if I say identify.
Is he the man you would like to be, or oh right, well, giving those words of wisdom and being the level-headed person of the group, and although he did lose it a couple of times, didn't he? Where he wanted to,
well, he never lost it, but
he was going to kill that guy. You know, Munkar, that's it. Yeah. He was going in for the kill on that one, and I think it was Shulk who stopped him.
It was.
So he lost it a couple of times, and you saw a different side of him. But obviously, you know, he had a disability. He challenged that disability. It didn't stop him doing whatever.
Stop him at all.
So I think from that point of view, if you want to look at disabilities and, you know, that they can't stop you doing what you want, I think that he was a very good role model for that. Was he my favourite? No, not really. So I didn't find he had enough strength of character for me, or enough personality.
Okay. That's surprising.
I think it could be surprised. It surprised who my favourite character was.
Right,
but
we'll come to that at the end. All right, let's move on to Melia. So I like Melia. You know, I think she's good. Now that we play Future Connected, I'll be honest, I don't think that added too much.
No,
it just kind of, I'm glad it exists. It's good to get more story, and like finding out what happened to these characters after the fact. But it's like, I don't know, in my opinion, on the overall characters, it's like the Xenoblade 2 cast, I kind of all like them equally, with, you know, like different, like, I don't know how you call it, like if they're on a graph, like spiky points, or like some I like slightly more than others.
I get that. I take because
but whereas this cast, I feel like I'm much more decisive of, I really like you, I don't like you, I really like you. And I don't say don't like, as in, you know, let's say on a 1 to 5, there'd be like a 2, and then like Ryan is like a 4. And it's like, so I would say, not to jump too far ahead, but it's like my favourites would be, you know, Shulk, Dunban, and Rhine, and then, you know, my last tier would be Melia and Charla. I mean, I like Ricky as well.
Mustn't forget Ricky.
But we'll come back to Ricky.
But I haven't said much about Melia, have I? Yeah, I mean, again, I thought she was going to be a very serious contender for the love interest with Shulk, and I thought, oh, here we go. And I don't know if they could have made more of that. I don't quite know if
it was kind of left to the background.
Whereas Nia, you knew she liked. Do you remember she was?
Well, she had the whole scene.
Yeah. So I think there could have been more there. And again, I just don't think enough strength of character. I don't think the additional bit actually helped or strengthened.
Okay.
Am I being too?
No. You say what you want.
But I thought she was really sweet, you know, and I liked her role, and I thought she was an interesting character. I love the Telethia. That I did like that whole Telethia thing. That appealed to me. But and you know, and I liked the fact that she was like a hybrid, if you want, because they needed to dilute the genes to obviously stop them turning into Telethia. So I like that part of the story and some of the intrigue that's surrounded her and her people, I suppose you could say, and what was going on with the different characters, if they were good, bad or ugly. But not that strong within the whole story plot.
Yeah, I don't know, I would kind of disagree a little bit on that, because I feel like her stuff, if we're just talking about the main plot, does kind of go throughout, because I say she has the whole High Entia connection. Well, I suppose it's more the High Entia's impact on the plot.
No, I agree
and
with that.
How she relates to them.
Because that's the bit I said I like, that whole her people bit, and you know, the High Entia and the civilization, and you know how they're all entwined, and like we didn't know about her mother, and you know, and then you had you know, her father, and there was obviously some deep stuff going on there, how they imprisoned the giant Zanza. Zanza. So I enjoyed the storyline and the story that she brought to it, but maybe as a character, again, she was there.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, you know, Ricky. I love Ricky. I think he's
yeah.
Even though we've only
Ricky's
met two
man.
like main Noppon, I think Ricky is the best out of all the Xenoblade Noppon who have been significant. I mean, to be fair, after playing Future Connected, I did enjoy Nene and Kino.
Yeah.
I did like them quite a lot, which makes sense. You know, if they're if one of them's the child of Ricky, then it makes sense.
You gotta love him, haven't you? And again, I like the fact that he was adopted. One of those within the little side
Kino,
story. Yeah. No, I like. Now, I
shows that Ricky.
I did love Ricky. You got to love Ricky.
Although,
he just
as I
sort of
say,
came in. Maybe they could have given him more of a stronger part. I think.
Yeah,
you know.
he did. Yeah, he definitely only. He has his bit in Magnify. They're all of the characters are kind of like that. They have their bit, and then that's kind of they just sort of fall back for a while. But I feel like, you know, as we both acknowledge, Ricky is, even though he doesn't look it, he's there. He is the anchor.
He was the fool, the Joker, wasn't he? That you could always get a laugh from, and you just sort of, there he was. Where's Ricky? There he is, and just.
So he didn't take any of it personally.
No. I and then all of a sudden he did that very brave act where he knew, Melia needed to rest, didn't she?
Yeah.
And you know, he did that whole sort of thing about needing food and stuff, and was food, wasn't it? And yeah. So I just thought that again demonstrated a really nice side of him. So yeah, you know, he's up there with my favourite characters. I'll be honest.
Good. How do you feel? Do you like him more than Tora? Who was obviously the Noppon from Xenoblade?
I
agree.
We had
I
Bobby,
said I like
didn't
him
we?
the
But
best.
yeah, I think they were different, weren't they? But yeah, I think probably because Ricky didn't have such a strong part to play, you enjoyed when he popped up and he had something to do because you were always looking at him.
Okay. Because that could be another really light thing to touch on now that I think about it. Actually, no, I've just counted my point in my head. I was about to say, when I think about the Xenoblade 2 battle cutscenes, kind of everyone got a crack at whatever they were fighting. But then I immediately countered that because when they're all fighting the Telethia, other than Ricky, who like charges and then gets knocked away, if I remember, they all have a crack at the Telethia. I don't know about that, but that can just be ignored. But no, we'll just move right on to now Fiora. Obviously, in the beginning, she meets an unfortunate end.
Yeah.
And that's what we thought that was going to be. You know, so we thought that was going to be Shulk's driving force for the game's plot, which it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's what set them on their quest.
And then, of course, she comes back. And, how do you just feel about her? Having her arc of having to accept now who she is.
Yeah. Well, I felt, initially when she came back, I felt quite sad for Melia, didn't I? Because I thought, that's we've now got a bit of a triangle, and I felt, I did feel a bit sorry in that respect. And yeah, I felt she had a big life-changing experience, didn't she? You know, I mean, one minute you're
chilling with your friends in the schoolyard,
and then you're being ripped apart, then you're put together into different, bits and bobs, and
you get another soul put into you.
But actually, if I had to have another soul, I would have Lady Mainith's soul. And I like that cat. I like Lady Menace because I always had that sort of bit of a bond with her character previously. I'm not going to say too much, but then when I realised, or you explained to me where that character had come from and where Lady Menace had originated from, then I would be quite happy to have her memories and her thoughts, and I thought that gave her more strength.
Okay, so I'll be honest.
Question.
Most of and I don't know if, I'll tell you it's fine, but it's like for me, just touching back on the whole cast, I definitely prefer the men in this cast over the women. I don't know. I
think they weren't brave enough to develop their female characters, but also you can see that as well in just how they dressed them. They were a bit more conservative, obviously very conservative.
Maybe it is some whole thing because I remember mentioning to you, how they tried to make this game with the Western audience in mind first. So I say maybe that's why. But,
we didn't quite have the equal opportunities in this one, but of course this is an older game, and it wouldn't have been the thing to have those very prominent female characters. And so yes, they all sort of took a bit of a backstage to the male characters, which I think is just an indication of when this game was.
Perhaps I don't know.
Maybe they tried to rectify it with that additional bit.
With Melia
going off.
Could be. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think they do try to sort of put that in as a focus. But
okay then.
Yeah.
So let's bounce on to the man himself. You know, Mr. Sees the Future, Shulk himself.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How do we feel about Shulk as our protagonist?
I mean, he was all right. That's all I can say. He didn't grab me. He didn't. I didn't think. Again, he was just. Oh, I don't know. I would say it's a bit wishy-washy, to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. Maybe it was just
that jumper.
I thought he was It was the jumper bloke, wasn't he? The bloke in the jumper.
Okay.
Who had a cool weapon. Bloke in a jumper with a cool weapon. You take that as you want. And I don't know. I think he needed to grow up. He wasn't a funny character, was he? He wasn't. I think Rex
what,
had more.
Ryan was for.
Yeah, I know. I think Rex had more humour in him, or a little bit, because he got embarrassed a couple of times, didn't he? So there wasn't so much of his personality.
But
maybe.
Is that due to maybe because Shulk is older?
It could
Rex
be.
was quite.
He was young,
Rex
wasn't
was 15,
he? Yeah,
and then Shulk is 18.
Yeah. I didn't really feel go on, get in there, my son. And sort of, he's
I mean,
some of the other protagonists, like we've looked at Joker.
Yeah.
And obviously he had a presence, and you could see what he was doing. Well, I don't know if he had the same presence.
That's really interesting. That's not what I expected you to say.
What did you expect me to say?
Not that. It's like I didn't. So I don't really know how to respond, because it's like, I mean, you bring up Joker, but Joker, obviously we don't want to go on a huge tangent.
No. I'm just saying
Joker, because he's supposed to be like a self-insert for the player. So Joker is relevant by way of, like, he's supposed to be you.
Yeah.
So that's why he's doing all this cool stuff, because it's supposed to be you're doing all this cool stuff.
Oh, right.
So I don't know.
I just don't know. Maybe of the age I am. He didn't, But then Dunbar didn't either. I suppose Ryan was more of a sort of a light-hearted character, and you got what he was supposed to stand for. I just don't know with Shulk if they made him. Maybe he was just that sort of jumpered scientist who had all of a sudden seeing the girl that he was supposed to really like, you hadn't actually shown any affection to, get killed. Suddenly, oh God, I've got to do something about this now, haven't I? And that's what I felt, really. He just went off to do something about it.
So, I mean, how do you just like very quick, how did you feel about the whole like visions of the future as like a story mechanic? Because very briefly, in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, when Mithra is awakened, she uses foresight, which basically was the visions from the future, but that was never really elaborated on, and that's just kind of implied that's how like Rex is pulling off some of the stuff. I mean, it does pop up a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess at some point in development they were thinking of doing future vision, and I guess they scrapped it. I don't know. But it's like, how do you feel about the story involving visions of the future and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I think that's. I mean, I liked the story, and I liked how it linked.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So I mean, but I'm not too sure.
So are you saying just comparing Rex to Shulk? Are you saying you like Rex more than Shulk?
That's a difficult one, because I found Rex really. It was his voice, wasn't it? It wasn't actually Rex himself. I found the voice really difficult.
Well, the character of Rex versus the character of Shulk. Like, which one?
I don't know. I couldn't really. Maybe Rex, which I don't believe I'd ever say.
Like.
Which I never believed I would say.
I feel like I'm contradicting myself. I feel like before I've said this the other way around, but I like Shulk more than I like Rex. But it's like. But then Rex does have some really standout moments that I enjoy. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's because Shulk's the first protagonist, but to me, Shulk is way more like, I don't know to throw around the word iconic, but there's just something about Shulk to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's because like in Rex's case, he had Pyra and Mithra directly supporting him. and that's just as blades are. They support the drivers. Whereas even though Shulk had his team, it was very much him doing it. Whereas I don't know. Because
I mean, they were very different, protagonists, and the journey they went on, and their team and how they interacted with their team and everything. But yeah, I would say much of a muchness if I had to make a choice.
Okay. Well, let's then conclude the characters. So, out of our cast, who was your favourite? Who was your favourite?
Well, we haven't actually discussed my favourite.
Have we not? Who did I skip over then?
Well, Dixon is not in there. You see,
no, I was talking about specifically the main party.
Well, you see, my favourite character would be Dixon.
Right, well, we'll put a pin in that then. So out of our main cast then, out of the 7 people,
well, he's got to be a Ricky.
Yeah, okay, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's bounce on to our villains. Just we can go through them quite quick.
See, Dixon was never a villain, was he? And
you
let me down.
We'll come back to Dixon. So first of all, let's just quickly touch on Metalface. Starts off as this voiceless robot, this machine, and then we find out that there's people inside.
I think we guessed that early on, didn't I? I think I was quite on that one.
People were impressed that you very quickly said that they're assimilating. Obviously, that was what they were doing. But at first you were off. You were saying bits of brain and things like that. But people were impressed with your guessing and your like so close but just missing the mark kind of thing. But no, did you think Metalface was? Because I suppose I'm trying to compare it. So we talk about Torna from Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, Torna was an organization where all the members kept popping up. Whereas in Xenoblade 1, we had staggered bosses. We had our first thing to beat up. Then we get our next thing to beat up once we beat up that thing, and then we got our next, and it was very much a progression. Whereas Torna, it was kind of everyone at the same time.
It was all over the place. Yeah.
Obviously, Malos and Jin were the figureheads, but everyone else still sort of had strong significance. So, how did you feel about Metalface? Is this anything specific or no?
Well, he needed to go down, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think it was again very sad that what they were doing, how they were putting using the bodies, and giving them those robotic shells and everything. Okay. And that's very unfortunate. But he was a horrible person anyway, because he so actually deserved to fall off that cliff.
He definitely did.
And get his demise, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine by me. Yeah. So how do we feel about Egil? Because he starts off as...
Oh, you see,
because he is a tragic character.
I know. You see, I did say, didn't I? I actually liked Egil. Yeah. I love the Mechonis. I don't know why, but
it's because they were never evil.
They were lovely people, weren't they? So once I got again to know his story and we got to meet him and everything, I just thought, do you know what? He's just on a crusade, and he's not really trying to be that evil. What he was doing was not good, but you could see sort of why and how what had happened to his people. He had got very influenced by, hadn't it? And it had turned him and made him quite bitter. And
he lost sight of the original goal.
And so actually, I thought he was a really good baddie.
Yeah.
And because all of a sudden you liked him, and I thought they portrayed him really well. So I think they did the baddies really well, I have to say.
Okay.
I enjoyed the baddies more so, I think, than the goodies.
Okay. So then let's go on to Dixon. Okay, wow. We're here. We're at Dixon.
That was the best plot twist I think I've ever seen. Because I was right up there for Dixon. He kept popping up, He kept
being... But then he was shifty,
He was, well, I just thought, and normally I'm quite good at sort of... he did keep disappearing, and I think I might have said a couple of times, well, what's he up to? But then all of a sudden he sort of reappeared, and you thought, oh yeah, well, I can see what he's doing. He's embedding himself in this. He's got, worldly experience. He's just, off doing stuff, and he's leaving those youngsters to find their way. So, I quite like the aged hippie, and the character and everything, but blimey. that hit you like a ton of bricks. I didn't see that coming, and I love that, because most things nowadays you can sort of just pick out the plot twist, what's going to happen, and so it's all a little bit disappointing when you get to the end, but that was not disappointing at all, which would put that up against Rex and his crew. If we're looking at the story.
So how do you feel about, because I personally love the final fight against Dixon when he's in his like giant form, and just how that ends. He just goes, okay, that's it, I'm out, see you later. I like that whole twist with Dixon. I like how they ended it. I like the fighting. That was I applaud the game for that. That's it. I don't think any more needs to be said. So then we talk about Zanza now, the god of the
I like that as well. You see, I'm right into all of that sort of, I was right intrigued by him, wasn't I? And I wanted to know more, and because I kept asking you questions.
Zanza, to me, he is good, but I feel like in terms of bosses, I feel like, I feel like Egil is the best boss the game has to offer. And then, because Zanza is, once you played Xenoblade 2, even though that came after, it makes sense why he's the way he is, but Zanza is very like one note. It's just like they try to explain it with like he wanted friends or whatever, blah blah blah, but it's like, to me, Zanza was very like, I'm just being bad to be bad, like not really. And then as so that gets explained in Xenoblade 2 by the architect or whatever. Half of him got ripped off and sent, which was that arrogant part that left, which is why, after however many years the architect was up at the top of the world tree, he was chill and was looking to atone. And so that explains why Zanza was the way he was. But I just feel like ultimately it's just kind of like, Zanza's just like, I'm bad, I want to rule the world, you can't do that kind of thing. Like a child almost.
Yes, I mean he turned, didn't he? He because at the beginning he wasn't like that, and then he just got the power craze, didn't he? And he
well, he was obviously, when you see the thing in the space station, he is egotistical.
He is egotistical. But, and that part,
it just got taken to the extreme.
I love that bit. I get you. I mean, I know you have to explain it to me a little bit, but I thought that whole sort of, well, I suppose it wasn't a plot twist because they hadn't made the other one by the time when they did that, did they? Do you know what I mean? So you would never have got all of that, would you? From if you played that first.
So do
you see what I mean?
They built Xenoblade 2 very well off of Xenoblade 1, I think. I think you should play this one first. The only reason we didn't was because I never intended for it to go as successful as it did. So that's the only reason we played them out of order. Because I feel like the highs in Xenoblade 2 are the connections to Xenoblade 1.
Yes.
And so it's like, let's say, because they make a point in Xenoblade 2 of like showing you those connections. So it's like, let's say they fall flat when you have no idea. So it's like when you're watching it, obviously when they put Shulk's line in, "Today we fell a god and seize our destiny," or whatever, it's like that meant nothing to you, but to me that was everything. And obviously I'd already seen that, but it's just like, again, it's just like, what? And then you see the cutscene, and it's the same cutscene, and you're like, hang on a second. And it's just like, all that I think is amazing. But we've kind of gone a bit off of Zanza.
Yeah, we have got,
But,
and so, I mean, as a baddie, good bad. I mean, I liked when we first met him when he was all sort of like
ethereal.
But he was entombed. What's the word?
As a giant.
Yeah, but he was in
chains.
In chains, but entombed. Do you know when he
was sealed away? I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway, he was sealed away, and it's like, don't you let him go? How good or bad is he?
At first,
do you know what I mean?
He deceived us all by being quite nice.
I liked all of that.
Well, you did like
stuff.
Zanza. You thought he was a good guy.
Yeah, because I do like a giant, don't I? I like a giant and a dragon, but and I like the Mechonis, but yes. I thought he was interesting.
Okay then. So just to close this, maybe close this out. We'll see. Just to close this out, what story? Actually, no. Actually, we'll just quickly come back to what we were just talking about. Yeah. So what villain group did you like more? The Tauren organization, or the Tauren organization plus Amalthus, or the villains from Xenoblade 1?
I like the villains from Xenoblade 1 because they're easy for me to. There wasn't so many.
Because Jin was your favourite character from Xenoblade 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jin was my favourite character. Yeah, because they're in that sort of like wrecked outside, inside. There was a lot of emotion and a lot of, and he loved Laura, didn't he? Lorna. Yeah.
So
that.
Sorry, no, go on.
Should I say that?
That's all right. No, it's fine. We're on spoilers, so it's fine.
And so, I forgot what I was saying now.
We were just talking about Jin and his amazing hair.
And about the baddies in Xenoblade 2 against the. No, I because for me, overall, this was a simpler story.
Because that's what I find interesting that you think. I think that's the other way around.
No, you see, because I found this is more linear. Maybe because there wasn't so many characters in the characters.
I would say definitely this is linear because as I described the villains, it's like we beat this guy, now we do this.
And my brain is quite. You do one, you go to the next, you do. So perhaps that suited my brain.
I feel like I followed the Xenoblade 2 story way more, but then that could obviously be because I had played this one, so I knew.
Yeah, that's true. And. There wasn't so many characters I had to remember, and you had to sort of quite put the links together. But the links sort of just came in this. They sort of fell, and it got. I don't know. It sort of.
It's because what links are you talking about? Are you talking about the Xenoblade 2 links? Because...
No. Just how Egil and why he was bad, and then he, you could see that, and then we moved on from that. Then we went to the next, and I just liked that. We dealt with one thing and moved on, and I feel that the story came to a very nice end.
Yeah, I agree.
And you've got closure.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with you on that. I prefer the ending. Well, okay, I suppose, yeah, if we're talking about, I don't like ambiguous endings, which is why I would say I prefer this one, because everyone's at home, everyone's happy, blah, 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 blah. Whereas Xenoblade 2, obviously, as we saw, Pyra Mythra, do they have memories, do they not, blah, 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 blah.
I like just to finish, done.
What happens to everyone on New Elysium or whatever, it's like that kind of stuff. I mean, that doesn't bother me that much, but just, the whole, does Pyra Mythra have their memories, is like really irritating to me. Because I just want to know.
I don't like loose ends really. I mean, it leaves you. I know that leaves you wanting more, but I just like, they all lived happily ever after, which is not actually life, but it's quite nice just to have something finished.
Just like that's it, and you can move on and have it as a good memory, a good chapter,
and an enjoyable game, enjoyable characters, enjoyable storyline. So,
are you saying then, to close out, do you prefer the Xenoblade 1 story over the Xenoblade 2 story?
Story-wise, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, but you're saying, so let's put this into 5 bullet points. So you prefer this game's story?
Yeah.
You prefer the Xenoblade 2's cast?
Yeah, I like the cast.
You prefer Xenoblade 1's like villains?
Yeah. Which maybe contradicts, not indicates, contradicts, but because I like the cast in 2, but.
I'm when I say cast, I mean like your main people. I suppose I'm using the wrong words.
No. I found them more interesting. There
main party, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean that's only 3 bullet points. I don't know if there are like 2 more. Yeah, that's probably fine by me. I don't think there's really anything else to say.
I mean, my favourite was Torna, wasn't it? I loved Torna.
Out of all the Xenoblade stuff, Torna was your favourite. I really like.
Again,
Torna.
I think it's probably because it was just simplistic. Again.
Well, Torna was but then because it was a different kind of story, it was. We already know what, like, you're expected to know what happens. So it's like Malos bad, we good. Let's find out what happened to Jin and Laura.
So again, I suppose it was just the simplicity of the story and the characters I'd already met before, and it just I like the backstories.
Right, well, closing thoughts will be
when's the next one?
Well, so Xenoblade Chronicles X, I'll make this quite short, just because I'm sure there will be people wondering. And that is something within my power I can do. However, first of all, I don't think I can do that game justice as it stands right now, because we're not going into too much detail. I definitely played that game wrong. yeah, I feel like there's definitely a big emphasis on the side stuff, and as I've said before, that's not how I play games. But I had a very like stilted playing of Xenoblade X, so I did just rush the story and never did any of the side stuff. Whereas in this game and 2, I did all the side stuff. So yeah, first of all, I don't think I could do that game justice as it stands right now. Secondly, for people who've played and know how it ends, I love the ending, but then I hate the post-credit scene. And until there is some kind of follow-up conclusion or whatever, I don't think that's a good idea. So until...
So there is another one, but I mean, is there another new one on the cards? No, that's what I meant. No.
So yeah, so Xenoblade X to be decided. If there's Xenoblade X2, then yes, it will be on hold indefinitely until that time. So there we are. That's it.
Lovely. Okay. Well, it'll
Goodbye.
It'll be Beat the Boss for Mum then next.
Yeah. That's it. But goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone, thank you.